I'd say the last 2 years have been kind of a whirlwind.
There was so much coming at us at every different angle.
Wow, that was hard, that was different, wow, how do we get through that part of it?
It really is a whole new beginning of everything, so we had to invent the wheel.
It definitely changed the perspective of a lot of us individually.
We were able to continue to be here every day, 24/7, 7 days a week, responding to emergency incidents.
So over the course of the last 2 years, California as a state, as well as Riverside County, and more specifically the city of Palm Springs, has experienced an unprecedented amount of vegetation fires. The number of acres burned, as well as the amount of resources required to suppress those fires, is something that here in the city of Palm Springs we haven't seen historically.
We had two different wildland fires off of Tram Road. One was about 22 acres, the other one was about 150, 190 acres. We also had another incident about 200 acres down off of Toledo Road. It was probably the most complex because it covered 3 different jurisdictions as far as local area, meaning the city of Palm Springs, the Bureau of Land Management, and some tribal land was involved in that incident as well. When we operate in those conditions, obviously with 5 fire stations, there's no way we can handle that type of an incident. So we have agreements with other agencies.
So the Palm Springs Fire Department participates in the Master Mutual Aid program. It's an agreement between agencies. For us locally here in Palm Springs,
Agua Bandit Mission Indians, National Park Service, U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, Bureau of Indian Affairs, Cathedral City Fire, CAL FIRE.
We utilize the same frequency, the same strategy, the same tactics, and we all fall together to be one united team. That teamwork together is how we're able to keep fires small and be aggressive at the very onset of these fires.
We work great with those agencies, and we have a very good relationship with all of them.
But we also participate in the CFAA, which is the California Fire Assistance Agreement. It's mutual aid on a larger scale. When we have these tremendous fires that are historic in nature, no one single agency can accomplish the goals and the tasks, so everybody gives for the greater good. The Palm Springs Fire Department has increased our capacity to respond to these incidents over the last handful of years.
We're prone to large wildland fires all the time, and we've grown up with that nature, and the ability to help and want to help not only our local area but throughout the state is pretty cool.
Over the course of the last 2 years, we've accrued over 250 days of fire assignments. That's nearly 6,000 hours that the Palm Springs Fire Department has provided assistance. All of that is done through the CFAA agreement and is not done at a cost to the citizens of Palm Springs. Our participation through the Master Mutual Aid and these other programs is truly at a benefit to our membership as well as to the community that we serve. We gain skills and knowledge and abilities when we're out on these assignments that you don't incur in your day-to-day job. These are skills and experiences that are once in a lifetime. And should those events ever occur in the city of Palm Springs, we stand at the ready because of this.
Palm Springs being as close as we are to the mountains, people come from wherever in the world, we're an international destination, and they see those beautiful mountains, and they're here in the summertime to golf and to do outdoor activities, and they think hiking is one of them. They're in for trouble when they get 3 miles up on the trail and they don't have enough water. We've always had fairly frequent hiker rescue calls. In the last couple of years, especially in the last year, we were going on 1 to 2 a week. I would say more than half of those hiker rescue calls turned into helicopter rescue calls. So it was very obvious that something needed to change, is that we were running into incidences where we had severe injuries, some of them becoming fatal, where the fire department, we're the ones that are paramedics, and we're the ones that have the training and the equipment, and that equipment needs to get to the patient, and that patient needs to get to the hospital. What we've done is just bridge the gap. If we need to get a paramedic on scene and we need to get that patient care there as quickly as possible, then we need to train the paramedic to be helicopter qualified as well. And it was becoming so frequent for us that we wanted to increase our training and our abilities to be safe and be better at it. We reached out and partnered up with Riverside County Sheriff's Aviation Unit, and they offered to do some training with us. But we will have done 16 hours of training with them, both basic and advanced helicopter hoist training. We've sent 15 of our individuals there to get that advanced training. Eventually going to be trained in being much better and more proficient with communicating with the pilot, directing the helicopter in, advising them of what we think, types of rescue would be best. So I'm really excited that our department is going to be much more prepared for what seems to be this dramatic uptick in those types of calls for us.
We've upgraded all of our apparatus with new technology for the radios that allow us better communications for not only within the city and in our remote areas of the city using mobile repeaters, but also with our police department, giving us the ability to talk to them from our portable radios as opposed to just one device. Everyone now can communicate with them, as well as some of the surrounding cities. And then that same technology benefits us when we go on the larger strike team assignments. It basically gives us the ability to respond more efficiently, to communicate more clearly with each other, as well as the ancillary agencies that we work with. So it actually benefits not only us from a safety standpoint, but it helps us serve the public and our community better because it gets us to where we need to go better and provides us the better opportunity to function efficiently. It streamlines the dispatch process. Each time we know exactly what we're hearing and what is to be expected from that automated system. The lights go on, we have little ticker tapes that run that are digital that give us the incident location. There's a TV screen that's inside of the stations so that we know right away that that is ours. It is an immediate incident for this specific station and this specific unit. And it's all digital. So it's tied directly into the internet, into the dispatch center, and then it's got a redundant communications portion in case something else goes down. We're definitely moving in the right direction to make things faster, to reduce our response times.
As firefighters, we go through a lot. There's high volume of calls that can take a toll, mentally and physically, on ourselves, on our relationships, on our families. Peer support is a program where we can help each other, how to heal, how to guide, support, love on each other, and get us through those hard times, point us to the resources that can help us. The program started with our peer support program. It's called the Firehouse Project. Studies have shown having canine therapy or just being present and spending time with a dog lowers blood pressure, reduces stress and anxiety, lower your heart rate, slow down your breathing. These are all, elevate your mood. These are all things that are key when we get to these critical incidents and coming down from the aftermath of an incident to just get us to recenter ourselves. Ranger has had hundreds of hours from trainer David Green. What the trainer saw in Ranger was just his demeanor and his temperament. He's just very mellow and lovable. What he's specifically trained for is just to provide emotional support. But this is very, very new ground. I believe this is the first in the Coachella Valley. Where we plan on going as the program develops is getting on scene of those critical incidents, to be there immediately to just offer support, whatever it may be. It could be to the fellow firefighters, and it could even be to the family that may be going through something critical. That's an option as well. Part of that whole peer support is just to let our brothers and sisters know that we're there for each other, we love you, and speak up. We're here to help, and we'll get you whatever you need.
Audio Jungle.
2020 was a very unique and challenging year for the Palm Springs Fire Department. In the past, we were able to hold toy drives and public gatherings. Due to COVID, we were unable to this last year. Due to the fact we had to keep our personnel safe and healthy so we could keep responding to other emergency calls. Luckily, we had two organizations step up tremendously. That was Omaze and the First Responders Children's Foundation. They both delivered one large volume of toys out to us, and we were able to deliver them to the families in need and children that weren't going to get any presents if it wasn't for them. So it all worked well as a team. Luckily to them, and other organizations all stepped up and helped us out, and we were able to provide the toy drive that we always have in the past.
So we recently got 2 new ARF trucks, as you can see behind me. The technology has changed, and it's a lot better than what it used to be. For instance, these have up-to-date FLIR cameras, which are forward-looking infrared cameras that are able to see hot spots, people that may be exiting or trying to escape the aircraft, make them easily identifiable to provide the greatest amount of life safety. With that said, we wanted to increase our training opportunities, provide the training and the ability to actually work with these new ARP trucks here in-house on our airport. Before, we used to have what they called, we'd go to a fixed facility, which was in San Bernardino, and we would send about 24 ARF engineers to go to the airport and do live fire training. Being that we have 2 new ARP trucks, when we go to the fixed facility, we can't bring our equipment with us.
This year we were fortunate, we had a live burn simulator brought to airport property. So that allowed everybody in our department to go through live fire training.
Such as like Station 1, 3, 4, and 5. Their firefighters, their captains, their engineers were also able to come in and do the training with our ARF engineers.
So it gave us a whole nother level of training that everybody got to participate in.
And we're able to do it on our airport with our new trucks and utilizing our own equipment and our own personnel. We have to constantly be keeping up on our staffing. We want to keep up on our training, on our strategy and tactics to make sure that we are adapting with the growth of the city, we're adapting with the growth of the airport, and we just got to constantly be on a state of readiness and ready to perform at any given moment.
And at any time, you have numerous aircraft taking off, and there's 737s with a couple hundred people on board that take off daily, numerous times a day. That threat is always there, and we got to be at the constant ready for that. A low frequency, high risk is what we call it, because it doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, it's a big deal. One of our engineers, ARF engineers, was out back on the back ramp rate, looks up and notices a Cessna fall out of the sky, right in our backyard, right by the tower. At that point, the crash phone goes off, so we had the 3 crash units, the ladder truck that comes out of Station 2 here. As the on-duty battalion chief, I wait for a report from my captain and said that we were going to have an extensive extrication operation. We had 1 pilot that was alive in the aircraft and entangled with an active fuel leak. You know, the aircraft's aluminum, so it just crumbles like a tin can. She was trapped within the flight controls and the engine, and it took, I think, 31 minutes to cut her out of that airplane. Essentially a little kid that's crashed and hurt, and we're working to free her. We got active fuel leak going on. We had, you know, there's a lot of moving parts on that. But the guys did a phenomenal job with extensive extrication operations, removed that young lady and had her transported to the local trauma center where she was cared for.
It's important to remember that the Palm Springs Fire Department is all risk. Whenever you're having a bad day, you can call the Palm Springs Fire Department and we're going to show up.
We go to hiker rescues in the summertime. We're going to, you know, probably 3 or 4 of those a week that require helicopters to extricate, you know, hikers out of the canyons. Traffic collisions, your medical aids, your heart attacks, your strokes, your seizures, hazardous materials calls. If somebody dials 911, the City of Palm Springs Fire Department, we're coming.
I'm just glad that we're still healthy, able to do our job, our mission, and I'm super proud of guys.
We have very talented, very driven individuals, very dedicated individuals, and I'm extremely proud to be part of this organization and have these folks protecting my family.
This past year has shown us that no matter what happens, the local fire department is still going to be here. We're always here, and we're always going to be here.